Are you struggling with addiction? Most guys are addicted to bad habits, whether it's playing video games, vaping, or using drugs. They just can't stop. But the worst thing is, they never admit they're addicted. Instead, they'll cope and say things like, vaping is healthy. Bro, you should try it, or else you will get testicular cancer. Or video games are good for you. It improves concentration and teamwork. Bro, pathetic. The best men don't lie to themselves. They're brutally honest and admit their weaknesses. Because you can't only overcome addiction if you keep things real. Now, maybe you've already tried breaking your addictions. You listen to advice out there, but it just didn't work, and you keep relapsing. Listen, overcoming your addictions is a beautiful thing, but most advice out there is pure garbage. It sounds good on paper, but it doesn't actually work. This video will be the only video you'll ever need on this topic. We will go over 5 ways to quit any addiction. Number 1. Cultivate hatred. Most people have a very limited understanding of breaking addictions. They'll tell you to set a date to quit your addiction or to distract yourself. And sure, this may work temporarily until the temptations catch you off guard and you relapse again and again and again. The first step to breaking addiction isn't to avoid it. No, the first step is to cultivate deep hatred towards that activity. You heard that right. You start by using hate. The people that tell you to use robotic and strict routines to overcome addictions don't truly know what addictions are. They treat addictions like any other habits. Listen, addictions are strong emotionally driven habits. Loneliness, boredom, greed, sadness, all these unresolved pain points lead to your addictions. We don't choose to be addicted. What we choose to do is deny our pain. No one else will tell you this, but the best way to counter your addictions is by cultivating the most powerful emotion against it: hate. The reason why no one else ever told you this is because of 2 reasons. The first reason is because society has a very novice understanding of emotions, let alone how to use them to your advantage. The second reason is that people consider emotions like hatred and anger negative emotions, which couldn't be further from the truth. There is a time and a place for every emotion, even for hatred. Think about it. If you have a gambling or vaping addiction, love isn't going to rid you of it. Happiness isn't going to destroy your bad habits. When you want to remove weeds in a garden, you need to kill the weeds. Similarly, to kill a bad habit, you need a powerful destructive emotion: hatred. Most people don't know how to use this powerful emotion. That is why you will see them hating in YouTube comments, wasting their energy away. Fatigue. Understanding when to use certain emotions to your advantage. That is what true power is, and that's the first step to breaking any addiction. The way to do this is by thinking of as many bad consequences of your addiction and write them down. For example, if you are addicted to vaping, write down how vaping keeps you away from your potential, because it absorbs your time and energy and makes you feel shameful. Write down how pathetic of a father it makes you, and how it destroys your dopamine receptors, makes you depressed, and lowers your testosterone. These are just examples, but it's preferable that you go much darker than that. You see, by linking all horrible things to your addiction, you turn that addiction into your enemy, and by reading them daily, you program your subconscious brain to resent those activities. This way, even when you're caught off guard by temptations, your subconscious brain is trained to fight against it. Now, before moving on to the next way to break addictions, I want to remind you of something very important. Every addiction is linked to a strong emotion. Loneliness could lead to vaping, greed could lead to gambling, and although hatred is an excellent way to combat these strong emotions and destroy your addictions, it doesn't get you to understand the root of the problem. You could destroy an addiction and later start a new addiction because you didn't resolve the loneliness problem. I advise you to start by using hatred to deal with your addiction instantly, but to also come back later to understand why you even had that addiction in the first place. When a man lacks purpose, he distracts himself with pleasures. Naturally, he will start to do dumb things. It is only to be expected. However, a man driven by a strong purpose can't waste time and energy on futile activities. Can't you imagine a man like Elon Musk starting to become an alcoholic, or a UFC fighter on the way to the title fapping 9 times per day? Of course not. Their purpose doesn't allow for it. A man's desire to fulfill his purpose is 100 times stronger than his desire for meaningless distractions. Once again, no one else will tell you that this is the way to deal with your addictions. They try to give you cheap tricks and routines to avoid your addictions, but it doesn't fix you at the core of your being. Now, the reason why I didn't put purpose at number 1 is because it's easier to cultivate hate against your addiction than it is to find your purpose in life. It can take some time to figure out what your purpose is, but that doesn't make it any less effective than cultivating hatred is. A true purpose is one of the most effective and powerful ways to break addictions. Number 3, do nothing. We've been programmed to grab pleasure the moment we feel bored or to constantly work, even if it's meaningless tasks. But when is the last time you did nothing? When I say doing nothing, I'm not talking about stinking in your bed. I'm talking about purposefully doing nothing. Just sit. Most people develop their addictions because they can't deal with boredom. So when you reprogram yourself to be okay while doing nothing, you are less likely to give in to addictions. Another thing you can't do while doing nothing is discover what your purpose is in life. I don't want to get too deep into it right now because that's a different topic than quitting addiction. But there's power in doing nothing. It helps to decrease anxiety, bring creativity to the surface, and boost productivity. Number 4, fight dirty. If it's a fight between temptation and willpower, the odds are always on the side of temptation. A single moment of weakness is more than enough for temptation to strike you down. The key is to sabotage temptation before the fight even begins. Stop seeing your smoking friends. Leave the junk food out of the house. Don't take your mobile in bed with you. Disconnect your internet if you have to. Whatever your addiction is, distance yourself from it as much as possible. Listen, you have to sacrifice to be able to change. Don't battle temptation with willpower. That's a last resort. Instead, defeat temptations by being witty and smart. Make it an uneven fight. Don't give your enemy an opening to pick up its sword. That's how you obliterate your temptations. In other words, change your environment and make it as difficult as possible for your addictions to lure you in. Number 5. The power of regular exercise to deal with addictions is often underestimated. A sedentary lifestyle is the mother of addictions, while movement is the killer of addiction. It helps you manage your mental health. So move. You can't smoke weed while you're sprinting. You can't fap while you're doing burpees. You can't gamble while you're swimming. It's very hard to be pathetic while you're moving intensely. And here's the beautiful thing about exercise. A good session will release natural chemicals in the brain called endorphins. And when you get these endorphins in a natural way, you are less likely to crave it in a cheap and artificial way afterwards, because you already got your feel-good high from exercising. By the way, if you want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Until next time.